There is a number that appeared on the Bloomberg terminal on the morning of March 23, 2026, that tells you more about the power of B-52 bombers than any strike report. It tells you more than any CENTCOM press release or any military analyst briefing published in the 24 days since Operation Epic Fury began. That number is 11.64, the percentage by which crude oil prices fell in a single trading session on March 23rd. Brent crude, which had briefly exceeded $119 per barrel just days earlier according to confirmed market data, dropped toward $97 per barrel. The Dow Jones Industrial Average soared as many as 1,000 points in a single session, confirmed by AP. Stocks rose, oil fell, and the reason was confirmed simultaneously by Bloomberg, AP, Al Jazeera, the New York Times, and Fox News. The reason was this: U.S. President backed off the power plant threat, claiming envoys had held talks with Iranian leadership. That market reaction, of a 1,000-point Dow surge and an 11% oil collapse in a single morning, is a precise measurement. It is the measurement of exactly how much pressure the B-52 campaign, the carrier strike groups, the Tomahawk salvos, and the 48-hour ultimatum had built on Tehran. Markets do not lie. And on March 23rd, markets said the pressure worked enough to produce a conversation. That conversation is now the most important thing happening on Earth. And everything about it, including the fact that Iran denied it happened, tells you exactly why Hormuz will open. It tells you why Tehran is more shocked by what just occurred than by anything that came before it. Let's establish the precise, verified sequence of events, because the 24-hour window from March 22 to March 23, 2026, contains more movement than the previous 3 weeks. On March 22nd, U.S. President issued a public 48-hour ultimatum: reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or face obliteration of Iran's power plants. This was confirmed by the New York Times, AP, and Fox News. Iran responded by threatening regional energy and water infrastructure, confirmed by Al Jazeera and Bloomberg. Markets priced in escalation. Oil stayed elevated. On March 23rd, everything changed. Bloomberg confirmed the headline: U.S. President backs off. Iran energy strike threat as markets reel. Bloomberg confirmed a second headline simultaneously: oil dives as U.S. President postpones Iran threats, says talks underway. Bloomberg's live update confirmed that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are negotiating an end to U.S. involvement in the Iran war. They are negotiating with the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament. AP confirmed live: U.S. President says Iran wants to make a deal and claims envoys are holding talks with an Iranian leader. Fox News confirmed: U.S. President to speak with Iranian leaders, says war will be settled if 5-day period goes well. U.S. President ordered a pause for attacks on Iranian power infrastructure after describing what he called very good talks. Al Jazeera confirmed the breaking news. U.S. President claims U.S. and Iran have major points of agreement after strong talks. Iran simultaneously denied the talks were happening. Al Jazeera confirmed Iran disputes U.S. President's claim they held very good talks. Iran cast it as a ploy to soothe markets and buy time for more military action. The New York Times confirmed the same Iranian denial. Two completely contradictory official positions about whether talks are occurring now exist in public simultaneously. And the Dow is up 1,000 points because markets believe one of them. Now let's talk about the B-52s, because this is where the title of this video and the market reaction of March 23 connect into a single coherent strategic picture. CENTCOM's official government website confirms that B-52H Stratofortress bombers began taking off in support of this operation on March 2, 2026. U.S. Air Force photographs were published of aircrew boarding the aircraft and airmen preparing them for launch. The USS Thomas Hudner, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, was confirmed by CENTCOM firing Tomahawk land attack missiles on March 4th. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, transited the Suez Canal on March 5th. The USS Abraham Lincoln operated in the region from March 3rd. A KC-135 refueling aircraft was lost over Iraq on March 12th, with all crew confirmed deceased. 3 F-15s were involved in a friendly fire incident in Kuwait on March 2nd. This is the documented operational record of 24 days of sustained American military pressure on Iran. And on day 24, that pressure produced something no previous 24-day campaign in the modern Middle East had produced. It produced a public American claim that Iran's parliament speaker was on the phone with U.S. president's envoys discussing terms. Whether Iran confirms those talks or denies them, the 11% oil drop confirms that something changed. And what changed was the cumulative weight of B-52 strike rotations and carrier group positioning. It was the weight of Tomahawk launches, a destroyed THAAD battery, and a 48-hour ultimatum. It was the weight of a missile that reached the vicinity of Israel's Dimona nuclear research facility. All of those pressures converging simultaneously created the conditions for a conversation. Or Iran decided for strategic reasons to allow the impression of a conversation to stand long enough for markets to stabilize. Either interpretation confirms the same underlying reality. The B-52 campaign changed Tehran's calculus. Here is the diplomatic architecture that Bloomberg confirmed on March 23rd. The people conducting these talks are not career diplomats, and that matters for understanding the kind of deal being discussed. Bloomberg confirmed that Witkoff and Kushner are negotiating with the Speaker of the Iranian parliament. Steve Witkoff is U.S. President's special envoy who previously brokered the Gaza ceasefire. Jared Kushner is U.S. President's son-in-law who led the Abraham Accords negotiations. Both men operate outside traditional State Department channels, directly from the White House. Their involvement means this is not a back-channel exploratory contact. It is a principal-level negotiation with White House authorization. Bloomberg confirmed that U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright stated the U.S. will find out who Iran's new leadership is once talks deepen. That statement confirms the American side is treating this as a serious diplomatic track. It simultaneously acknowledges that Iran's leadership structure has been disrupted by the 24-day air campaign. Fox News confirmed U.S. President said the war will be settled if a 5-day period goes well. This transforms the conflict from an open-ended air campaign into a defined negotiating window. Al Jazeera confirmed that both countries want to ensure the upper hand in negotiations. This framing acknowledges both sides are treating this as a real negotiation with real stakes. The IEA dimension of this development connects it directly to every household paying elevated energy costs. AP confirmed on March 23rd that the International Energy Agency Executive Director stated the global economy faces a major threat. Al Jazeera confirmed the IEA head described the situation as a world energy crisis worse than the 1970s. That assessment was published on the same morning that oil dropped 11% on Hormuz hopes. The distance between a major threat and an 11% oil drop is the distance where this conflict was heading. It shows where the B-52 pressure produced a diplomatic opening. Bloomberg confirmed that European gas prices were whipsawed by the potential to ease the war. Bloomberg confirmed that global LNG exports fell to a 6-month low on Middle East conflict. Bloomberg confirmed that Saudi Arabia and Kuwait are seeking to advance energy deals despite the war. This is a signal from the Gulf's largest producers that they see a path back to normalcy. Every one of those signals converging on March 23rd describes a market recalibrating. It is moving from worst-case scenario pricing toward negotiated resolution pricing for the first time in 24 days. Here is what the Strait of Hormuz picture looks like on March 23rd. The title's claim that Hormuz will be open is grounded in the economic arithmetic both sides are now calculating. The New York Times confirmed on March 23rd that U.S. President postponed the deadline for strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure. The NYT confirmed that the war's attacks on energy could turn economic shock into long-term damage. Bloomberg confirmed that the Hormuz Strait closure was forcing U.S. President and importers to seek solutions. AP confirmed live that U.S. President extended the deadline for Iran to reopen the strait as Iran denied negotiations. The extension of the deadline is itself strategically significant. A president who issues a 48-hour ultimatum and then extends it has received something in return. That something is either a private commitment, a credible signal, or a back-channel message. The Witkoff-Kushner Iranian parliament speaker contact is the something that produced the extension. And the 11% oil drop is the market's assessment that reopening is more likely than closure. Markets price probabilities, and an 11% drop represents a significant probability shift toward resolution. The confirmed Iranian denial of the talks is not a contradiction of this picture. It is a confirmation of it. Al Jazeera confirmed that Iran disputes U.S. President's claim they held very good talks. Tehran cast it as a ploy to sue the markets and buy time for more military action. The New York Times confirmed the same Iranian denial. Bloomberg confirmed its live update ticker. Iran denies negotiations with U.S. The Kremlin separately confirmed it is monitoring conflicting signals on the Iran situation. These denials tell you something specific about Iranian negotiating strategy. Countries that have decided to fight to the last do not issue careful, strategic denials to buy time. They issue defiant statements and launch additional strikes. Iran's denial was crafted as a ploy accusation, not a military escalation. It preserved Iran's public posture while allowing the talks to continue. That combination of private engagement plus public denial is a classic negotiating posture. And the B-52s that have been flying since March 2 are the reason Iran finds itself in that position. The economic confirmation of this shift is visible in every data point Bloomberg published on March 23rd. Crude oil fell to 86 or 80 per barrel on the Bloomberg terminal, an 11.64% drop. The Dow Jones Industrial Average soared as many as 1,000 points, confirmed by AP. Stocks rose and oil fell simultaneously, the classic signal of a de-escalation being priced in. Bitcoin rose after U.S. President pointed to a delay in Iran strikes, confirmed by Bloomberg. This is a signal that even cryptocurrency markets read the development as a reduction in risk. The dollar dropped as U.S. President postponed strikes on Iran energy sites, confirmed by Bloomberg. Gold paired dramatic losses as U.S. President backed off from the Iran threat, confirmed by Bloomberg. Every single asset class moved simultaneously in the direction of reduced conflict probability on March 23rd. You cannot manufacture that kind of coordinated market response with a press release. Institutional investors with access to intelligence believed the underlying development was real. The B-52s created the pressure. The Witkoff-Kushner call created the opening. The markets priced the outcome. Here is what the human dimension means for the millions whose lives have been disrupted. AP confirmed that the Dow soared and oil prices fell sharply on hopes for an end to the Iran war. AP confirmed that spiking gas prices are set to eat up the tax refunds that U.S. President touted. The New York Times confirmed that gas prices have risen more than 30% in some states in 2 weeks. Bloomberg confirmed that Modi is seeking to calm India as the war causes gas shortages. Bloomberg confirmed that the UK is studying wider ways to help the economy on Iran. Prime Minister Starmer confirmed no direct threat to Britain while calling for de-escalation. Fox News confirmed that U.S. President and Starmer agreed the Strait of Hormuz must reopen. Every leader of every major economy is now publicly aligned on the same outcome. The strait reopens, the conflict de-escalates, and the energy shock begins unwinding. The 5-day window that U.S. President publicly stated on March 23rd is the window for a verifiable agreement. Otherwise, it collapses back into the escalation trajectory that the B-52s and carrier groups created. The B-52s did not win this war by themselves. No single weapon system wins a war by itself. What the B-52s did was create a cumulative weight of military and economic cost. They made a negotiated resolution more attractive to Iran than continued resistance. That is the definition of successful deterrence and coercive diplomacy. Not unconditional surrender, but the creation of conditions in which the adversary's calculation shifts. Iran's parliament speaker is on the phone with Witkoff and Kushner. The Dow is up 1,000 points. Oil is down 11% in a single session. The IEA head called the energy crisis worse than the 1970s combined. And, on that same day, the market moved sharply in the direction of resolution. Tehran is shocked because 24 days of B-52 pressure and carrier strike groups created these conditions. The Hormuz Strait will open because the arithmetic of staying closed exceeded the arithmetic of the deal. Share this video immediately with everyone you know. The 5-day window that U.S. President publicly stated on March 23rd is the most important countdown in the world. Because at the end of it, either the strait opens and the shock unwinds, or the B-52s go back to work.